Okay, let's dive in. Have you ever been in, say, a stadium control room, or maybe just a busy sports bar, right?
Mhm.
Or even like a really high-end home theater setup, and you kind of wonder, how do they get exactly the right video feed onto exactly the right screen? And it's
Right.
always perfect every time.
Yeah, seamlessly.
Exactly. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into maybe the unsung hero behind all that. It's the WolfPack 4K 30 hertz 8x8 HDMI switcher, the one with apps and WEB GUI.
That's the one.
So our mission really is to cut through the tech talk, figure out what this thing actually does, how it works, and maybe why it's so important in this world full of screens.
Absolutely. It's more critical than people might think.
Okay, so picture this. You've got, let's say, 8 different video sources. Could be streaming boxes, gaming consoles, Blu-ray player, maybe even a security feed, that kind of thing.
Right, lots of inputs.
And then you've got 8 different screens, TVs, monitors, projectors, whatever. Now imagine wanting to send any of those sources to any of those screens, or maybe even the same source feed to all 8 screens at once.
Yeah, like for a big game or something.
Exactly.
Oh,
And
yeah.
crucially, doing it without that nightmare of constantly swapping HDMI cables around.
Yeah, been there.
That really is the core job of what they call an HDMI matrix switcher.
That's precisely it. And this WolfPack, specifically, is an 8x8 HDMI switcher. The 8x8 just means 8 HDMI inputs, 8 HDMI outputs. Simple as that.
Okay.
And because it's a matrix switcher, that's where the flexibility comes in. Any input can go to any output, or one input can go to several outputs.
Oh, okay.
Any combination you can pretty much think of, it can handle it. And it does 4K resolution at 30 hertz.
Which is good quality.
Oh, yeah. Great for movies, presentations,
Mhm.
that sort of thing. And it's also backwards compatible, Supports older HD resolutions like 1920 by 1200. So it works with the older gear, too. It's all HDMI 1.4 and HDCP 1.4 compliant. Covers your bases.
Right, right. So it's clearly handling the video routing very effectively. But what about the sound? For a really immersive setup, audio is just as important. What's it doing on that front?
Great question. Yeah, it's definitely not just about the picture. This switcher supports really impressive audio formats. We're talking LPCM 7.1 channel, Dolby True HD, Dolby Digital Plus, DTS HD Master Audio.
Wow, so the high-end stuff.
Exactly. The highest quality, uncompressed, immersive surround sound formats to make sure your audio is just as crisp and impactful as the video.
Aye.
Plus, there's even a little bonus, a dedicated 3.5 mil audio out on the first HDMI output. Gives you a bit more flexibility if you need to feed an external sound system separately.
Okay, that's handy. So that basic capability, routing anything anywhere, that's fantastic in itself. But what makes this specific WolfPack stand out, beyond just being a functional box? What are the advanced features or the user experience things that set it apart?
Well, yeah, there are quite a few things, actually. It really comes down to versatility, and honestly, some smart engineering. First off, control. You have a ton of options.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a WEUI, web page interface you access from a browser. Super handy. Plus, there are iOS and Android apps.
Ah, cool. Apps are always good.
Yeah. And then you've got the standard stuff, too. Front panel buttons, an IR remote included in the box. And for the more advanced setups, RS-232 and TCP/IP or LAN control. So basically, however you want to control it, you probably can.
Okay, very flexible.
And a really nice touch in that WEB UI, you can actually name the inputs and outputs. So instead of remembering HDMI 3 is the Xbox, you just label it Xbox. Saves a lot of guesswork.
Huh. Yeah, I can see that being useful.
Definitely. And then, beyond just controlling it in the moment, it can save configurations. It has memory for 10 different scene settings.
Scene settings, what does that mean exactly?
Think of it like presets. Imagine that sports bar again. You could have a scene called Sunday Football that puts the main game on the big screens, maybe stats on another,
Ah, I see.
then another scene for basketball playoffs with a different layout. Or for a home theater, you could have movie night, dimming lights via a control system and routing the Blu-ray, gaming routing the console. You just recall the scene.
So it remembers common setups. That's a huge time saver, especially in a commercial place.
Absolutely. Instead of rerouting everything manually each time, it's just one click.
Okay, that's clever. And what about the physical unit itself? Is it bulky, noisy? Where does it fit in?
Physically, it's actually quite compact. It's a standard 1U size.
When you...
Yeah, that means it's designed to fit perfectly into a standard 19-inch equipment rack. It even comes with the little ears for mounting it.
Okay, standard rack size.
Got it. But maybe the most critical thing for a lot of places, it has no fan. It's completely silent.
Oh, wow. No fan noise.
Zero. Think about that high-end home theater or a quiet boardroom, maybe even a church or something. The last thing you want is equipment humming away.
Yeah, that can be really distracting.
Exactly. So that silent operation, it's not just a small detail. It's a really key design choice for those kinds of environments. Lets the tech just disappear into the background.
That is a big plus. Okay, silent, rack-mountable. What about performance? You hit the button on the app or the remote, how quick is the switch? And, does the signal degrade at all going through this box?
Yeah, good questions. The response time is pretty quick, around 2 seconds for an input switch. So minimal delay, not much black screen time.
2 seconds, okay, that's decent.
But the signal quality part is where it gets really impressive. It does more than just pass the signal through. Think of it like signal conditioning.
Conditioning.
Yeah, as the HDMI signal goes through the switcher, it gets retimed, the level is compensated, any phase error is corrected, and data jitter, tiny timing errors gets eliminated.
So it cleans up the signal?
Precisely. It basically regenerates a brand new, perfect HDMI signal on the output side, which means, theoretically, zero loss of quality compared to the source.
Zero loss, that's a strong statement.
Yeah.
How does it actually achieve that? And I mean, are there still situations where an installer might run into signal issues, even with this device?
Well, the internal processing, that reclocking and regeneration is key. But what's maybe even more critical for avoiding those weird issues, those edge cases you mentioned, is how it handles something called EDID.
EDID. Okay, I've heard that term thrown around. It sounds super technical, but you're saying it's actually a really important problem solver here.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the unsung heroes of HDMI, really.
Yeah.
EDID stands for Extended Display Identification Data.
Right.
And it's basically how your source, like your streaming box and your display, your TV, they kind of introduce themselves to each other electronically.
Okay.
They exchange this EDID info, which says, hey, I support these resolutions, these audio formats, this refresh rate, stuff like that.
So they're telling each other what they can handle.
Exactly. But the problem comes when maybe the capabilities don't match perfectly, or one device sends an EDID the other doesn't quite understand. That's when you get flicker, wrong resolutions, sometimes no picture at all. It's called the handshake issue.
Ah, the dreaded HDMI handshake issues.
Yep. This matrix switcher is designed to prevent that. It avoids the flashing you see with some other switchers because it intelligently manages the EDID. It essentially looks at all the connected displays and presents an EDID back to the source that represents what all of them can handle.
So it smooths out the communication.
Right. And it has a lot of options. It supports 23 different EDIDs internally, 8 that it can learn from the outputs, and 15 built-in common ones. Gives it a big library to work with.
23. Okay, so it's like a skilled negotiator between all the devices.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. A digital diplomat. It definitely saves countless headaches and probably, a few thrown remotes.
I bet.
And there's one more trick up its sleeve with EDID, a learning function. Yeah. So say you connect a display, and for some reason it's just not working right. Maybe no audio or the picture's weird. You can tell the matrix switcher to specifically learn the EDID from the lowest capable display in your setup.
Lowest capable? Why would you do that?
Because that forces the switcher to output a signal that every connected display is guaranteed to understand. It ensures compatibility across the board. Otherwise, some simpler switchers might just default to a really basic signal like 720p stereo, just to be safe.
Ah, I see. So you might not get the best quality on your better screens then.
Exactly. This learning function lets you force compatibility while still trying to get the best signal possible that everything can handle.
Yeah.
I remember this one job, a customer was convinced their whole system was faulty, screens flickering like crazy.
Yeah.
Turns out it was just EDID handshake problems between different brands of screens. We put in a matrix like this, use the EDID learning, boom, problem solved. Their frustration just vanished. It's a real aha moment for people when they see it fix those kinds of issues.
That's a great example. It shows how this seemingly technical feature solves a really common, really annoying problem. Okay, so with all this power and intelligence, who is this actually for? Where do you typically see these WolfPack switchers being used?
Oh, all sorts of places, honestly. Some are obvious, some maybe less so. Sports bars and restaurants are huge users, obviously. Quick scene changes, robust control for multiple games. It's perfect.
Right.
Casinos, gentlemen's clubs anywhere with lots of dynamic video displays. Bowling alleys, fitness centers for distributing TV feeds. Even places like malls, places of worship for digital signage or service broadcasts. Data centers for monitoring multiple servers.
Wow. Okay. That's diverse.
Yeah. Gaming rooms, nail salons, country clubs, factories, conference rooms and schools are big ones too for presentations, and of course sophisticated home theaters.
And in those home theaters or conference rooms, that silent operation must be a big deal.
Huge deal. Along with the scene saving, it just makes the experience much smoother and more premium. It really simplifies things in surprisingly complex environments.
So it seems like it fits anywhere you've got, more than a couple of sources and screens that need to work together reliably.
Pretty much.
Now, something else that caught my eye, you mentioned integrating this with bigger professional control systems, right? Like Crestron Control 4. Those can get really expensive. Is there a way for end users to leverage this WolfPack within those systems without, completely breaking the bank?
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, and there's a smart way to approach it if you're budget conscious. So if you're an end user and you want a whole house system from one of those big names, AMX, Control 4, Crestron, RTI, Elon, Savant, URC, any of them, here's the tip. First, call the supplier, like HDTV Supply, and get a quote for just the WolfPack hardware, just the box itself.
Okay, buy the hardware direct.
Right. Then, once you have that price, or you've even bought it, call your local third-party control system dealer or installer, the Crestron guy, the Control 4 guy, whoever. Ask them for a quote for just writing the software code to integrate the WolfPack you already have and doing the installation.
Ah, so you're separating the hardware cost from the programming and installation cost.
Exactly. And doing that, separating those steps, can often save you thousands of dollars on the total system cost. Because you sourced the core Matrix hardware directly.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, is there a catch? Does the company support the code the installer writes?
That's the important caveat. The company, HDTV Supply in this case, they guarantee their own control protocols work. Like the RS-232 commands, they provide the script, say 8 by 1 and 2 and 5, to switch input 8 to outputs 1, 2, and 5. They guarantee that command works.
Okay.
And the Matrix even confirms. It sends back okay if the command is right, or ERR if it's wrong, which is super helpful for the programmer troubleshooting.
Right.
But they aren't certified by Crestron or Control 4, etc., and they aren't responsible for verifying or supporting the specific code that a third-party installer writes to make their system talk to the WolfPack using those commands.
Got it. So the basic commands work, but the custom integration code is on the installer. Still, sounds like a potentially big saving.
It definitely can be, yeah.
All right. So wrapping this up, this deep dive into the